Hi everybody, welcome to Thursday, the Thursday morning posting on Facebook, and don't forget our Friday show tomorrow, jeremycordeaux.com, live streaming around the dining room table, calls, guests, the whole shebang. Now this week, the 75th anniversary of Peanuts. And he basically got that cartoon strip as a one-off. Charles Schulz, the cartoon character Charlie Brown, Snoopy, the Red Baron, the Beagle with the blanket. 75 years. It's hard to imagine what that particular cartoon strip had that resulted in that sort of longevity. Amazing. For the 8th straight month, according to PropTrack, real estate prices have risen around Australia. Less than 1%, granted, 1%, but nevertheless, that's up. And with the government-sponsored 5% scheme, and unbelievably, ladies and gentlemen, not means-tested, so billionaires' kids can go out and do it and have the government guarantee their deposit, 75% of their deposit. Wouldn't you think you'd means-test such generosity? Wouldn't you? Anyway, no means test. That's nuts. Anyway, we're set to see house prices with that 5% minimum deposit jump by at least 10%, I believe. Labor means well, but they just don't know. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And they've done quite a bit of paving in their time, I can tell you. And here's the kicker. The Labor government has committed us to an open-ended obligation to pick up the tab for hundreds of millions, or what one could call hundreds of billions, subprime loans, dollars, should people default on their loans, their mortgages. This government does not think these things through. It only has to look at recent history in the United States, when all those subprime lenders went through the hoop and took the country with them, and indeed a good part of the world. Now, Labor's a very bad manager of money. The rule of thumb, the bigger the deposit, the less likely the default. The smaller the deposit, the more likely the default. It's called skin in the game. Simple. Erin Patterson. Probably enough has been said about Erin Patterson. I don't know. She had mushrooms in the game. Well, we're led to believe she did. She will appeal against her guilty verdict. Well, I suppose, why not? What's she got to lose? But I wonder who's picking up the bill, the legal bill. It must be enormous. A very expensive sideshow. No doubt the media will love it. Les Ellicus, around the dining room table, he's spent a lifetime in the wine and beverage business. If you're a regular listener to the Friday show, you'll know that. We have to talk about this. It is enough to drive you to drink. The wine industry is about to embrace net zero. And you know how? Aluminium wine bottles. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, wine out of a beer can. Brown Brothers, very, very good wine company. Brown Brothers, you can't be serious. And of course, do not forget that making aluminium is very, very energy intensive. Uses an awful lot of electricity. What is the problem here you're trying to fix? Anyway, good luck. We'll watch it with interest from around the dining room table. You might like to send us a couple of sample cans and we'll give you an honest opinion. You see, with wine you're dealing with a very, very fragile, ethereal, almost ephemeral product. You can't afford to play around too. You got away with the screw cap I never thought you would, but you did. Only 12% of general practitioners are bulk billing patients. A tiny fraction of that which we were promised. Medicare, free medical care. Rubbish. Rubbish, rubbish. Medicare costs a fortune and is another government failure. You can put it with childcare and aged care. Meanwhile, I kind of like this story. Meanwhile, in India, 330,000 doctors in the subcontinent have been ordered to make prescriptions legible. A woman who was wrongly prescribed erectile dysfunction cream for her eyes, the swelling went down after a few months, just in time to appear in court to hear the judge order the doctor to take handwriting lessons, and within a year move to digital prescriptions. It begs the question, how important is handwriting these days? God knows the schools don't give it any importance whatsoever. Maybe we should talk about that on Friday. 0491 65 68 60. Tomorrow, Friday. All voices seem, to me anyway, in all honesty, just as loud. Oh, well, I've got my prejudices like everybody and my preferences, but all voices should seem just as loud and credible. The problem is that there are forces who want to shut down any dissenting voices. The reason is that they have no argument. They can't defend their position. So what to do? Close down the opposing conversation. Hence, the information and disinformation legislation, which is looming, ladies and gentlemen. We must resist this with every fibre of our being. We have a problem. Houston, Canberra, everywhere we got a problem. If you have a position or an argument, make your case, that's fine. I'll make mine, you make yours. Don't try to close people down just because you don't agree with them. But it's the next step that is most frightening. They will have the power to put us in jail if they disagree with what we are saying. In other words, if we dissent and talk, say, as we do, and will no doubt tomorrow with Professor Plimer, about climate change and the con and the nonsense that it is, this is against the popular government opinion, which they can call disinformation, and we can go to jail. This is Soviet Russia. Please be aware. People say, and you often hear it, we want lower interest rates. And I raise my eyebrows a bit. I suppose in recent memory, if we've had interest rates at 0.1%, which is almost negative interest rates, the interest rate that is currently prevailing, which is, 3.6%? 3.6% next to 0.1% must seem incredibly high. Well, I'm sorry. In actual fact, it's not very high. We have, within living memory, under Labor, always under Labor, by the way, I don't know why, interest rates climbing through 22%. Cop that, sunshine. I really wouldn't worry about 3.6% interest rate. Historically, it's always been between, if you're going to draw a line, you'd say between 5 and 7%. 3.6% is not high. If it is, you shouldn't be borrowing money. Okay, it's not 1/10%, but if you want cost of living relief, which is fundamental to absolutely everything we do, everywhere we go, every place we even think about, electricity prices have got to come down, which means getting rid of these renewables, the renewable nonsense, the renewable mentality, and get back to mainstream electricity generation. That's what we have to do. Don't worry about your 3.6. Worry about your electricity bill. It's funny, the peace plan hammered out in the Oval Office by President Trump and Netanyahu is exactly why I have such a low opinion of the United Nations. This is their job. It's exactly what they should be doing. They're obsessed with climate crap, which takes up all of their time and all of our money and achieves nothing. It was quite a sight. Donald Trump, along with Pete Hegseth and all the top brass, all the generals brought back from all over the world to sit there in Virginia. Never seen so much gold braid and fruit salad in my life. Now, these guys are not used to being dressed down, berated, even by the Commander-in-Chief. The Riot Act was being read by Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. He didn't pull his punches. He announced that there would be no more political correctness in the armed forces, no more inclusion, no more woke, beards will be shaved, no more strange haircuts, dudes in dresses. Women can serve but will be treated like men. If they can't keep up, they're out. Keep in mind, these are the most senior people in the military. Pete says, by the way, you're all too fat. You're on a diet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he told the top brass that they were too fat, and that was not what the military was about. No more fat generals in the Pentagon. I've got no idea what they made of all of this. They just sat there. Really very funny. When the President and the Secretary of War got up and walked out, they didn't stand up. They didn't clap. They didn't do anything. It sort of looks like something is simmering. I cannot see how Trump and Hegseth can re-engineer something that is so ingrained over recent democratic years. Personally, I love what they got stuck into, because I just don't like political correctness, you know that. No more social inclusion, no more men in dresses, no more funny beards, no more funny haircuts. Finally, he says, if you disagree with these policies, find a new job. Some of these guys might just take early retirement. Yes. And others, well, frankly, Trump can't afford to lose a lot of these people. The most senior men in the Army, Navy and Air Force. And in that moment, maybe the seeds of a military coup were being sown. You don't know. It wouldn't take too much, I don't know what you'd call it, chutzpah for them to get themselves organised, would it? Not that I am suggesting that for 1 minute. Now, we're here with the Rising Sun. Best wishes, 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. Their telephone number is 8333. Did I give you 3 threes then? 8333 0721. It is a garage, ladies and gentlemen, so don't worry. Grant and Jackie will take care of you. If you're looking to launch a product, have a quiet, romantic dinner for two, a function of any kind, it is a beautiful venue, warm and welcoming, and regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia. And been here since 1845. And Jim Elder Art Gallery in Melbourne Street, North Adelaide, with their last big auction of the year coming up, They're at 106 and 110 Melbourne Street, North Adelaide. Two beautiful buildings. One of them is a huge church, which is a great gallery to show art. And Jim and Helen Elder certainly do that 3 or 4 times a year. So if you have a notable painting that you're thinking about painting, or at least getting valued, a free appraisal if you give Jim or Helen a ring on 82672869. And I think the last painting I saw, or what was it? It was an Albert Namatjira at the last auction, and they had it in the catalogue for $60,000, which I thought was a huge amount of money. Well, it is a huge amount of money. And it sold overseas for $170,000. A lot of money. So people invest in art like they invest in gold. Now, happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Happy wedding anniversary. The glasses. It is October 10. Pan Am begins regular flights around the world on this day in 1959. The first dinner jacket that never been a dinner jacket before this day in 1886. The first dinner jacket worn to an autumn ball at Tuxedo Park, New York. It then became known as the tuxedo. I've heard of Tuxedo Junction. That's not the same thing, is it?
Yes. There's also a Bugatti tuxedo model.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. All right. The Beach Boys released their influential single Good Vibrations on this day in 1966. Ethel Kennedy, American human rights activist, wife of Bobby Kennedy, dies at 96. We attended her annual Christmas carols night on this day in 1996. And the thing that I will always remember, it was a big green, not a big house, but a big green field. And a white weatherboard 2-story colonial American house. And it was called, I'll think of it.
Hickory Hill.
Hickory Hill, it was.
His accent.
Very good. It was called Hickory Hill. And when you went inside, there were hundreds of children. Children everywhere. Amazing. And Ethel was there, and a lot of the Kennedy. But what I noticed more than anything else was, instead of having these wonderful historic pictures of John Kennedy in the White House with little John under the desk, as a classic picture of the little boy under the president's desk, it was just a black and white picture stuck with blue tack on the wall. She was a person without any affectation, no trimming. She was just the most wonderful, clearly authentic mother. Just loved all of that. I remember that, and I always will. Treasured experience.
Wow.
James Clavell, the British-American novelist, Taipan, Shogun, Noble House, King Rat, screenwriter for The Fly. He wrote The Great Escape. I didn't know that. The film director for The King Rat. He also directed To Sir with Love. He was born in Sydney, Australia. He died in 1994, but born this day in 1921. James Jones Sutherland, Australian operatic soprano, known as La Stupenda, Metropolitan Opera debut 61, dies at 83, this day in 2010. African-American inventor Isaac R. Johnson patents the bicycle frame. How did they get on without a bicycle frame before this day in 1899? Don't know. Horse and cart. Christopher Reeve, American actor, Superman, somewhere in time, dies of an adverse reaction to an antibiotic. He was 52, 2004. There's a terrible, terrible end to his life. A long, tragic end. 1969, Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice is recorded this day, 1969. Murray Walker, English motoring commentator and journalist. Formula One. He was an absolute Formula One legend. ITV, he was with ITV for 1997 to 2001. Born Birmingham, died 2021. Born this day in 1923. I think we might leave it there. Oh, one more. Orson Welles, American actor and director. Citizen Kane, War of the Worlds. Did a great radio show called the Mercury Theatre. Theatre of the Mind. Dies of a heart attack at the age of 70. The year was 1985. Thank you so much for being with us. And we'll see you next Tuesday for another posting at 9 o'clock. And Thursday next week, another posting at 9 o'clock on Facebook. And tomorrow around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, live streaming for 3 hours, where you can have your say and I can have mine and everybody can, while we can. God knows how long they'll go on letting us do it. Thank you for being with us. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.